Good people? Welcome back to the channel. KG is back and it is time now. Final 8 games. Let's go. Daniel Farke has spoken today. There was some good stuff in the press conference. It was good to get I think we got some good news on the injury updates, especially in particular with one player. There was something I didn't like so much in regards to last season that you mentioned. I'll get into that as well. But on the whole, it seems that everyone is refreshed, refocused, and getting ready for this final 8 games, which is just so important. As Daniel Farke said today, promotion is the only aim for this football club, and that's stuff I like to hear. Before I get into it, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and of course drop your comments below. I'll be dropping a preview for tomorrow because there was quite a few things to get through today. So the preview will be tomorrow with score predictions and team selections and everything else. So tune in stay tuned for the channel for that. Thank you to Parrot House for the super thanks on the last video, and thank you to Christopher who's become a member of the channel. Big up to everyone for that kind of support. It does mean a lot and it goes the extra mile. So listen, let's get into it because there was a few things today. Gotta say though, our local journals, we'll get into it. We'll get into it. But some huge news is that Ampadu has been back in team training since last Friday, which is coming up to a week tomorrow, which is just music to my ears. I've spoken on here so many times just about how important Ethan is to this team. It doesn't matter off or on the pitch, he is vital. And it shows up in games where Daniel Farke is having to and ah between Gruev and Rothwell. Well, this takes it out of you don't have to make a decision. It's Ampadu and it's Tanaka. You don't need to think about nothing else. You've got the balance perfect there. Yeah, we missed something on set pieces, but look, our set pieces, Rothwell is decent, but he hasn't been that great. Let's be real. Look at some of the deliveries he's made over the last few games. Not really nothing to write home about. So get Solomon on those, get whoever. We have not got a good set piece record. It hasn't happened for 38 games. Why do we expect it to change for 8? So for me, the balance in midfield, if Ethan is fit to start, we'll get into that tomorrow, then it's him and Tanaka in the midfield. And I'm just so glad that he's back. I've said it before, he is a player that when he's not playing, people realize how important he is. And we've seen that in the games that we've been struggling in this blip that we've been in. He was asked today as well about what would be different in terms of this time, this season, in terms of last. And this is where I didn't like what he said, and because there's just no accountability there again with this manager when it comes to things that went wrong. And he's just talking about how it's different this season in terms of the player personnel and everything else like that. It was interrupted last season. And then he mentioned about some of the players it wasn't so, I'm going to paraphrase this here, but it wasn't as important to them to get promoted because they knew they had moves elsewhere. I thought that was really low to mention that, because there's always players in teams that could get moves elsewhere, no matter what happens to him. Rafinha had moves elsewhere. Even if we got relegated, he put his absolute all into it. And I even look at the players that did leave last summer. Somerville was still banging in goals for us towards the end of the season. Jorginho had a hernia problem. Archie Gray was still putting in the best performances he could out of position. So I'm not sure where he was going with that. For me, it again just shows you that accountability, looking in within himself, isn't paramount to this manager. He didn't mention that he could have used Creswell more. He didn't mention that he could use Connor Roberts more. If someone isn't given what you think they should be given, you could have used Jaden Anthony a little bit more. Gelhardt, there was just none of that. But that's the one thing I didn't like about that, just purely on an accountability basis. Something that we've spoken about in terms of Willy Gnonto. He could be involved this weekend, people. They're looking at him. He's got some swelling on his ankle, but he has done light sessions, hasn't had any contact. So the fact that Willy Gnonto could be in the squad is a huge bonus, because when you hear an ankle injury, and obviously with Willy's past of being away and then being out for like a month after, you're thinking, damn, we need him for the running. We absolutely need him, and he could be an option. But he could be in the squad. They're just going to have to see how it goes in tomorrow's session. So again, good news. That this is all good news for me, because I thought we'd be missing Willy for at least a couple of weeks, but that seems to not be the case. It will be a late decision on Saturday, but Daniel Farke says they won't do anything stupid, which is the right thing to do, of course. Ethan back. Willy has to be fit for consideration. He was on the up and had good chances. When he has a knock, it's more tricky to put him in. Yeah. And the good advert for him at QPR, and he was asked about this, and in all fairness, and how close was he to being a starter, but he kind of did like not dodge around it, but he said, look, he's not fully fit, so kind of like the question was pointless. But that's what I mean. I said this in videos during the international break. It would have been nice for Willie to be fully fit and him to be, up against Brenden in this situation, but he kind of had it out because he isn't fully fit at this point. um he was then asked by the usual suspects about Bamford and starting. By the way, people, this is a pointless question because we literally have the top scoring striker in the league. There's only one person that scored more goals than Joe Peru, and that's Boya Sands from Norwich. There's no one else that scored more goals. For me, this question was absolutely pointless. And again, it doesn't go to the heart of what people's concerns were. And the thing is, these reporters know the concerns because they get feedback on their social medias every day. They get it in comments on their reports. They know what to ask. But I just feel that I don't know what it is with the journals locally, but they're not asking the questions that I feel fans want. And it wasn't until later, and I don't know who it was, so forgive me for the reporter, but it wasn't until later, after all the journals had asked their questions, the usual suspects, Smith and Popey, that we was asked about Brenden Aaronson, one of the most hottest topics before the international break, and it wasn't until later on. And it just shows you this that the quality of questioning is just so poor at this moment in time. And whether it's because they're having to walk on eggshells or not, maybe that is the case. And if that's the case, I understand from that point of view. But yeah, they just didn't get to the heart of anything. But he was asked about Brenden Aaronson and this break, and it was essentially what I said he would say in regard to Brenden Aaronson is that he's recharged, he's refreshed. The one thing I did disagree with him about though was no, I agreed with him on one point, and he said that he wasn't going to be hot all through the games. He started off well at a decent middle, and he's been off form in the last few games. I agree with that. The only thing he said then was that you can't expect him to be good for every single game. Well, that's when you use your squad, Daniel. And that's where it comes in about squad usage. If you know and you can see that he's not performing well, which he did see because he was bringing him off before 60 minutes, before 70 minutes, which was very unusual for Brenden, then it's on you to put in Willy Gnonto. It's up to you to put in Ramazani and switch him around. Put Solomon in the 10 if you have to bring Brenden out, and he didn't do that. So I understand that Brenden wasn't going to be hot for every game, and I wouldn't expect him to. But you have to make decisions on the squad, Daniel. He also said that Brenden isn't guaranteed to start every game. We shall see. But he also said that Brenden is ready and firing, and in training he's been scoring goals and creating chances, and that's all I hope for with Brenden. Because I've been bigging him up, except for when he hasn't played well. Because I'm not just gonna big you up and then when you're not playing well say yeah he's still good, but he has been off it. And I think Daniel Farke even alluded to that today, but he has said that Brenden is refreshed. It was good that he didn't go away with the US. We're still awaiting Firpo's return from the Dominican Republic. He'll be in later today, so we'll see what condition he's in tomorrow. But with Brenden, he's ready, fit and firing, ready to go. He's refreshed. And listen, the proof will be in the pudding. The proof will be in the pudding. If he's not performing, there are players there that you can use, Daniel. There are players, but I hope that Brendan's back to his best. And like I say, I don't even look at the assist total. I've said to you before, he has been very, very heavily in the build-up for the pre-assist, where he's been in the link-up play, the build-up, but even that went away. And even his running stats, I can't remember one game, but I think he had like 20 touches or something like that. So, hopefully this break has refreshed Brenden and we can get back the best version of Brenden Aaronson for this very, very vital run-in. Was there anything else in the way? Yeah. Along with the Patrick Bamford thing, asked about Harry Gray. Farke just kind of like batted this one out, talking about how Gray is a big prospect and is training with the first team. But we've got Joel Peru, we got Mateo Joseph and Bamford in the mix. But it's also unrealistic to then just go, okay, we're not going to play Peru, we're not going to play Joseph. Harry Gray, final 8 games, go in. And even I understand that youth level and senior men's football is completely different. But I reiterate, Harry Gray is a big talent, big talent, and we've got to nurture him right. So I understand Daniel Farke's point of view from that standpoint. Um, And just in general, there was questions in regards to what will be different this time and how confident is he. And there was something else I very much agree with, because I know a lot of you in the comments get involved with this kind of thing. In how many points do we need? You guys love that, and for me, I don't go on that basis. I can't, because we could say we need 4 home wins, we could say this and that, but this is a very unlikely scenario. But just say all 3 of us lose every game, and obviously Sheffield United, Burnley got to play each other, so they'll draw. You know what I mean? There's just so many variables when it comes to football, and like you said, you just got to take it one game at a time, and that's where I am. Just get one win at a time. You know, for me, if we reach 92 points, will that be enough? You know what I mean? It's all this kind of stuff. It's all ifs and buts. All you have to do, win all your games, and then you leave no doubt. That's what I would say. Leave no doubt. And that's what I hope that Leeds United are doing. Daniel Farke, for me, there was a lot of good things he said today, and it does seem that we're ready. It will be Swansea next, who have had an appalling record. I'll get into that on tomorrow's video. Recently, they've got a new change of manager, but for me, that should mean absolutely nothing when it comes to the game on Saturday at Ellen Road, at the Fortress, where we got 8 cup finals. That's basically what this is. So if I missed anything that you guys liked or didn't like from Farkas, please put it in the comments. But I feel like I've got the meat of what was said today without all the other word salad, I hope. But I will be back tomorrow with a preview, so please tune in for that one. And then I'll be live on Saturday. It will be live and we can talk about the result together. It seems that you guys are enjoying this kind of format of me doing shorter videos at this point. Maybe it's because it's championship football. I don't know. Because we used to do long ones in the Prem. We used to go like 45 an hour at times for Premier League match reviews. But yeah, I will be live after the game, but please join me tomorrow for the preview, and then we can get our score predictions and team selections in then. Guys, like the video before you go, and I'll see you tomorrow, people. Peace out.